Party was right to push back the way we did, and we have preempted what was planned. And I know we have to wrap up, but I want to say just one final thing. Shelton, in the last few days, more money has passed. Direct cash payments. Today, money was being paid out in a particular hotel, not in the north. A particular hotel money was being paid out. Coasters have been rented to take staff of the hotel to vote. But all of that is going to come to naught because the Labour Party is ready, we are able, and come.
Of Micoud South, we're broadcasting live from the Deriso playing field. I'm Shelton Daniel along with Crystal Lucian, and you're watching us on HTS Helen Television System. You can also follow the live stream on htsstlucia.org and also on slptvnow.com. Crystal, I think I ought to give you the honor of welcoming and introducing our next guest who's just taken his seat alongside us.
Shelton, it is indeed an honor to welcome our Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Kenny D. Anthony, and the leader of this great party, the St. Lucia Labour Party. Welcome. Could you talk a little bit about the thoughts that went into the development of this manifesto?
Well, maybe the better thing to do is to give you an idea of the process that we use. The first call is usually made to our candidates and included in the manifesto. The next stage usually occurs with the parliamentarians. We have very intense discussions as to what ought to be included, the policy adjustments, policy shifts, policy initiatives. That is conducted in a shorter time frame. Once that is done, we begin to have ideas and we crystallize. Then we have a core team that begins the drafting. During this period, they work very, very closely with me. Constant dialogue, constant suggestions. And perhaps the most challenging thing are the pictures. A lot of the pictures that you see, they may be existing photographs, and we may have them in our possession, but some of them are in fact new photographs that we have to provide ourselves with. We may engage persons to do so. These days, it's not very difficult because you have drones. So we may actually send out, as we did on this occasion, drones into the field to take specific photographs. When all of that is done and it's collated, then we have the mock-up, we look at it, we decide whether we go with it, and the front page is always a big issue, a big challenge, because that begins to set the theme for the manifesto for that particular election. This time you will notice that we have attempted to encapsulate all 17 candidates within the framework of the map of St. Lucia to convey the message that really we are working together to make our country great again. We want to bring our country to a new level of development, and we are embracing the entire country and the entire people to do so. Then there's the printing and deciding on color. And that's always a challenge because you don't want to repeat the same colors year in, year out. So it's a fairly lengthy process when you really look at it. And I would say that on average, a manifesto may have a gestation period of as much as 3 months. But the crucial timeline would be the last 3 to 4 weeks before general election.
So it's not something that you come to overnight. It's not something.
No, it's impossible. You have to give it a lot of thought, and you need to make it representative, and also you need to allow your constituencies to embrace it. So it means that we have to obtain suggestions from our various constituencies. There is a novel feature in this manifesto. You will notice that there is a section that deals with the commitments to the various constituencies. These normally come from the parliamentary representatives of the various constituencies. We have done this before. It's not the first time that we are doing it. I think we did it sometime either in 2001 or 2006, possibly 2006. So you find this is repeated here. Ideally, I would have loved to have seen it in a more prominent position in the manifesto, but of course, they are always design issues, so it ended up being to the back of the manifesto.
Prime Minister, from the moment you took your seat, I could say that there's a feel-good written all over you. I mean, for someone who's been expending tremendous amounts of energy, getting by on very little sleep, overuse of your voice, you're not even hoarse as you sat here speaking, you're beaming. I can tell there's feel-good all over you about this election campaign. Tell us about the election campaign and your feeling about it. Why you're so upbeat and positive.
Okay, a 2-week campaign is intense. Yes, there have been many, many late nights, but you know, I'm fond of teasing the guys on the team. I tell them all the time, I'm the youngest fellow on the team. I have more energy than them put together. I guess I've gone through the ropes, so I know how to pace myself very well. But there are other reasons why I'm upbeat. I'm so confident about this election. There is something very special and unique that is happening. Something is happening clearly with solutions. I've never seen them so reflective about an election as this one. You know, I was driving up to Grosley this morning in all the rain and counting the number of vehicles with yellow flags and with red flags. And it struck me that unlike elections in 2011, people decided to retreat and engage in quiet reflection. So it'll be interesting to find out on Monday exactly what has been in their minds.
Let's talk about one of the key points of the manifesto, the economy. I mean, there is about stimulating employment. And when I look through the manifesto, it is clear that infrastructural investment and construction, both in the public and the private sector, as with hotels and the construction of roads, the plans going forward for the highway.
Eliminate completely the payment of taxes by persons earning $2,500 a month. About 3,000 persons is going to benefit from that. It means therefore you are strengthening the income of individuals. You are in fact exempting substantial numbers of the working class of the payment of tax. We are also improving the fortunes of the pensioners who've had a hard time the last couple of years. In fact, eventually they're going to get a deductible allowance of about $40,000. Apart from that, of course, we want to reduce the corporate tax rate, start a process of a downward trend, initially 28% and then 25%, because we believe that if you reduce it, you strengthen the capacity of the corporate sector to invest even more in the country. The second pillar is a massive onslaught on reducing unemployment by construction. The government plans a heavy infrastructure program. I mean, the project that takes a pride of place is the Northeast Coast Highway that we really want to start in this next year. But this is complemented by major infrastructure investment, a new judicial complex on the Millennium Highway, a new police headquarters at the top, all the tertiary roads around that to prepare, and we're in the process of designing those roads, so we'll be off the ground fairly quickly. But apart from this massive injection of investment on the public infrastructure side, the government hopes to attract at least $3.2 billion in new investment. And we can do it largely because of the CIP program. A mention of $3.2 billion sounds intimidating, doesn't it? But consider for a fact that your Sabusha hotel is costing $200 million. Then you're talking very easily of almost 600 million EC dollars. So it is within reach. And investment is key to generate employment. So there's not been. So that really is our second plan. So you have really three key plans. One, tax reform to put more money in the pockets of solutions. Secondly, a major investment on the infrastructure side, particularly public infrastructure. And thirdly, major investment.
Launching of the St. Lucia Labour Party's candidate for this constituency, Gibo Ferdinand. And later tonight we'll be hearing from the man himself. I'm Shelton Daniel, along with Crystal Lucian, anchoring this live broadcast, which is going out on Helen Television System, HDS Channel 4, and also continuously for the constituency of Vieux-Fort South. And the Prime Minister has just been explaining that the government will be looking to lower taxes on people's earnings. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the value-added tax, whether we should have it at a tax.
I think the current parliamentary representative of Castries North summed it up very well in his famous comments. It's tax contributes $346 million in revenue to the government. That pays your nurses, your doctors, your teachers, your police officers, and provides services. It also pays position is twofold. Firstly, he can't make up his mind about what new taxes will be imposed on the backs of the people of St. Lucia to raise the 346 million. Because you have to raise it. You have your debt to pay. And investors are going to look at your capacity, your ability to pay the debt. But the second thing is he let the cat out of the bag, is to bring an end to the zero-rated items. These are the items that St. Lucians do not pay VAT on. So you can go to a supermarket, buy powdered milk, baby milk, macaroni, ramen, flour, sugar, rice, chicken parts, all of those things that you don't pay VAT on. And now, after being pressured, he suddenly says he's going to introduce a sales tax. Mind you, that is what his father and Michaud Shastley had told the public several months ago. So he's merely repeating what Michaud Shastley had said. Now, if you're going to introduce a sales tax, then it would be obvious that if you're going to abolish those zero-rated items, you would have to apply that sales tax to all of those items which hitherto were not taxed. The people of St. Lucia need to understand that reality. The second thing is this: the business people need to be careful. VAT may have its complexities, VAT may have its issues, but let's not forget that the author of VAT in St. Lucia was John Compton. He announced it in 2007. Stephenson King, his successor, followed through by creating and establishing the unit, selling the idea to the public, and in fact preparing the legislation for VAT until he got cold feet. The coward that he is, he backed off just before the. He doesn't like the exemptions and the zero-rated items because he finds them administratively cumbersome. That can't be a reason for doing away with that. There are 140 countries in the world with that.
Mr. Prime Minister, before you go, because I know you have to go, but a lot of St. Lucians believe that they've been hearing about this IMF thing from ever since the time of Sir John Compton. It's almost like it doesn't really exist. It's something that is waived to get them to step in line when it's necessary. Can you put that, the IMF, the threat of IMF, in context of the VAT and the other measures that you've had to take, those very difficult measures you've had to take in the last 4.5 years, so that St. Lucians can understand before Monday, June 6th?
Yeah, I can do that very simply. If you look at every IMF report in St. Lucia when Stephenson King was in office, the IMF kept pounding, you need to introduce VAT. In fact, in the last report for the general election, the IMF said that Stephenson King gave an undertaking to the IMF that it will introduce VAT. That's the first thing. Now, maybe St. Lucians are a little puzzled when I said that it is this government that saved St. Lucia from the IMF.
But still the pressure has continued to be piled on the government for things like that. I did hear you on a radio program addressing the matter of the delay in appointing a DPP. Going forward, how does the government intend to do whatever needs to be done from its side to see if it can expedite matters pertaining to the expediting and the administration of justice in the country?
The first